This tutorial will show you how to make a high-level product roadmap, which is like a timeline that describes your long-term vision and development priorities for a certain product. A great product roadmap will help you get buy-in from your developers, investors, business leaders, and even sometimes your customers. There are a lot of specialized and detailed project management tools that can help you put your product roadmap into action. Think tools like Jira and Monday.com. But a big part of product road mapping is setting that long-term vision for your product, not getting into all the details and dates required for a project management tool. So it can be helpful to sketch or visualize your product roadmap in an online diagramming tool like Gliffy before digging into those more advanced execution-based tools. This is an example of a high-level 6-month product roadmap that was made with Gliffy, which is an easy-to-use app available in Confluence, Jira, and online. You can learn more about Gliffy through the info linked in the upper right, or you can find links to start a free trial of any of our apps via this video's description. There are lots of different audiences for product roadmaps too. If you were having a meeting with an investor or your organization's leadership team, having a high-level product roadmap just like this one can be really helpful. This type of roadmap wouldn't be detailed enough to fully support your development team in their day-to-day work, though. Let's dig into how you can make this type of roadmap with Gliffy. In the Gliffy online editor, I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to select Basic Diagram. This preloads basic shapes because really all this roadmap is going to be is a bunch of rectangles. You can also use Gliffy for more technical diagramming like AWS architecture diagrams, where we do have all of those shapes preloaded for you. Now, Gliffy is built off of drag and drop functionality, so all I need to do is drag out a shape and give it a label, like a month, January, and then I can click and drag this shape to move it. I can resize it. And I can use these options here to edit the text style and edit the shape style. It's all super intuitive. I'm going to make this label a light green color, and I like to get rid of the stroke because I think it makes the diagram look a little bit more modern. Up here you can see we have our grid shown. I like to try and keep my shapes aligned to that grid, and that's extra easy when you have this snap to grid function on as well. Now, under the month of January, I do want to have like a bar for each week. So I just did Command D to duplicate this, and I'm going to drag it down, relabel this shape week 1, and drag it out to make that long vertical bar for my roadmap. I'm going to edit the text and send this text to the top. I might also make it a little bit smaller here. And then I'm going to edit the shape color to be our even lighter color. I'm going to select this shape, do Command D again to duplicate it, move it over. I can type to rename this week 2. And I'm going to make this bar like a light teal color. Great. Now I can select both of these shapes, and again, Command D, I think you're seeing where this is going. Select this one, rename it week 3, and this one can be week 4. Then I'll drag and adjust my January shape to fit that whole thing. So there we go, that's a whole month. Now I'm going to select all of this, and again, Command or Control D to duplicate, drag it over. We'll label this one February and change the color here. That looks great. So obviously some months aren't going to be 4 perfect weeks. I just like to think of it this way at a high level to keep things super organized. If you wanted, you could actually go in and put in every single day or a specific date range. But I think for this high level exercise, simply thinking through each month as, all right, we've got 4 weeks to do our work, assume 2 sprints a month. That can be a really easy way to avoid getting too into the nitty-gritty as you're just trying to lay out your high-level roadmap and goals. So I've got 2 months here. Let's go ahead and select both of these, duplicate, drag them over. You can see there are some green lines appearing. Those are our smart guides. They're helping to make sure you're keeping everything aligned as well. This will be March and April. And let's do one more set of 2 here for May and June. Awesome. So now I have just kind of this high-level calendar for the next few weeks. And what I plan to do is drag and drop shapes on top of this to say, all right, at this time I expect to be working on feature 1, and adjust it like this. The tricky thing is if you're not careful, you might accidentally end up moving something that you didn't intend to move. So our solution for that is this layers panel here. I'm going to click, we'll rename this layer calendar. I just double clicked to rename it, and we're going to lock that layer. Now we'll add a layer on top of it. This is where we will map out our ideas. And you can see now with this layer locked, I can't select or edit anything in this layer. So it's a good way to keep your work super organized. I highly recommend you do that up front. Now, you may have a bunch of feature requests already collected, or you might have ideas for your product. You might have some high-level themes that you want to work on and focus on. So let's go ahead and create some spaces for those themes as well. I'm going to unlock this calendar and move this over a little bit further. And that's just going to give us space to put some themes and notes right here. Back into the Layers tab, we'll lock it again. And let's add one more layer called Themes. We'll set up this column nice and neat. Again, I always like to get rid of that stroke right away. It is just not my style. And I'm just going to throw some themes out here. So you might want to be building a mobile version of your product. Maybe you're thinking about doing an integration of some sort. Maybe you want to improve an existing feature. Maybe there's a new feature that you want to build out, and then it can be a good idea to just have a category for other as well. That looks great. Now I'm going to unlock this calendar again because I want to make sure I keep everything lined up nicely, and we'll drag it back up like that. Looks great. Lock it down again so you don't accidentally make any changes. On our themes layer, I'm feeling good about those that we added, so I'm going to lock that in as well. All right, now I'm going to make sure I get back to my ideas layer here, and we can just drag and drop out some of the shapes that you want to include for your product. So that might be like feature 1, 2, 3. Maybe you have a research project that you want to do. Maybe there's a security vulnerability or something that you need to address quite quickly here. And once you've captured these ideas, it's really easy to start slating them into your diagram as well. So I'm going to drag this up here and say we estimate this is going to take 3 sprints or 6 weeks. And we'll say feature 1 development. Again, I'm going to get rid of that stroke like I always do. And obviously after development, you're also going to do some QA. And then it can be helpful to drop in your expected release date as well. Awesome. So then I've got another feature idea in here, and I can just duplicate this. And I'm saying, okay, if I'm giving my development team until that week in February, then I don't want them to start focusing on this one until the second half of February. Maybe you expect this one to be a longer effort. And then you can copy your extra shapes here as well. Follow that same pattern. Great. And then maybe after those are released, you want to do some user research and improvement on them. Cool. All right, and then we had that urgent security update on our radar. So let's go ahead and get rid of this stroke and move that in here as well. Sounds good. And the reason that this is such a helpful exercise to do at a high level is I'm not getting bogged down by specific dates. I'm just moving things around. I'm working that puzzle piece together. And you might be working and realize, hey, because of this security update, I actually really need to prioritize that. And I don't want to start working on this feature until later. That's no problem. You can drag it like this. And then you can say, oh, I'd like to move this one out as well. So let's put that right here. And then maybe we can still start research at that time. That's no big deal. So using this framework, you can make sure that you're capturing all of your ideas. You can make sure that you're not overwhelming your team with work, and you can more clearly articulate what priorities you intend for your team to work on in the short term and in the longer term. Again, make sure you're using layers to keep everything organized. And when you have your diagram in a good place, you can go ahead and save your work. I'll go ahead and save that. I did first half of the year. Awesome. And so now that it's saved, I can easily export this for a presentation. I can keep it in the Gliffy format if I want to import it into another tool like Confluence. And I can share it with my teammates via a link or by embedding it in other tools that we're using to get some really detailed feedback. If you've ever worked with a product roadmap before, you know that things change a lot. That's no big deal. This is great also because say I realize I actually don't need to prioritize this security update and I move everything back. All good things, all good news. Now I can save it and you'll see it updates right here to V2. If I ever need to go back to an older version, I can go to File, Revision History, and jump back to that original. So this makes it really easy to track your changes. You can easily revert. You can always make the edits you need, and you'll have a really clear document of what changed when, and you can even add notes to yourself if you'd like as to why. That's everything you need to know about this high-level type of product roadmap just to get your ideas out there and start to figure out what your team can actually accomplish in a set period of time. If you haven't yet, be sure to sign up for a free trial of Gliffy available in the upper right or via the links in this video description. You can try us free in our Confluence app, our Jira app, or our standalone diagramming tool, Gliffy Online. From there, you're just a few clicks away from dragging and dropping to create your own product roadmaps, workflow diagrams, flowcharts, architecture diagrams, and more. Last, be sure to follow for more tutorials just like this one. You'll be a diagramming pro in no time.